Johnson. I'm an exceptional child in spring of this semester, and I did my choice of 5 articles. And my first one would be from tab 2, and it was by Sean DeWuck. Looks like a German name.
Yeah.
And it's about teaching handwriting, and it goes to say that teaching handwriting is something that is not noticed as a problem for some students till like later in the grades, and it's actually studies show that they spend more time on it in early elementary grades rather than later on in elementary school. And it's difficult for anyone to understand with or without a disability. At first, you want to, if the student is having problems with handwriting, first you want to identify the problem by observing their handwriting and seeing what they're doing wrong. Step 2 is a problem analysis, and that's like if it's their letter formation that they are getting messed up, or if they don't know their alphabet, because the alphabet and knowledge of that takes a lot to do proper handwriting. Step 3 is determine a solution, and there's many ways to visual cues and ways to practice it, and also would be learning the alphabet better if that's a problem for the student. But it's something that should be looked at early on so they don't have horrible handwriting all their life. But this was a good written article with charts and it showed the visual, like the letters and the problems some students had, so you could visually see. My next article was under tab 3, and it is by Monica Carr and Dennis Morgan, and the name of it is Self-Management Interventions with students with autism.
Okay, something popped up there.
It's okay. And self-management interventions with autism is to achieve the behavior. So this makes them get to a better behavior for these autistic students through interventions of self-management to give them more independence. All these made valid arguments in the article with great sources, but the little information is more like just a whole bunch of sources in the article rather than the author talking. My next article was under tab 6, and it is about class families as faculty is what the class is called. And this article is by Emily Williams. And this is about where future students who are going to become educators, like such as myself, they would take this class and they would do home visits with families with learning disabilities. Instead of sitting in a classroom doing the same thing as any other of their classes, they would be actually going to the homes, which is a great alternative to just sitting in the classroom. They get a family perspective of how these disability children are behaving, and also it's a much comfortable environment for these students. This was an informative article and also very beneficial to myself, since considering this could be a class that I would do if this ever came up. and it encourages the comfortable environment for both the student and the future educator. Okay, my next article that I really liked was under tab 9. So if you flip to there, you will see, it's called Mother and Woman Between Child and Work, Report from a Project with Handicapped Children. This was my favorite article. I really enjoyed reading it, not just because it was the shortest, but that was a benefit. It is about a community-led group that it's called Talking with Families. Just exactly what it's called. It's just group discussions with mothers who have disabled children, and they found out once they did this group observation that they had so much alike, and they had so much alike, and they actually said they fear to go anywhere without their child being disabled. They require so much of their time, and they're constantly over consumed of this. And also, not only did it do discussions, it gave group work to these mothers who had been staying home with these disabled kids, and so that also gave them another outlet to actually earn an income also. And my critique part of this article was that it was short, like I had mentioned, and it was to the point, and it was great for the community to have this kind of program, and I think something like this would benefit in our community ourselves. Okay, and my last article is tab number 10. It is about twice exponential students, and this article is by Lewis Baldwin. And I read a lot of articles about the twice exponential students, and there's a lot about ones that go into further detail, but this one was really good and demonstrated a lot of the information. The definition for twice exponential students was students who demonstrate gifts and talents but also have a disability. And this was just straight to the point. I know there's so much different definitions for this because it's still coming about to be an actual something that educators should look at. But so with that being said, it's observed either by the educator seeing the child's strengths and not recognizing their disability, or they're recognizing their disability but they're not recognizing their strengths. And then the third option would be neither their strengths or their disability. So it's not getting the children anywhere. And this situation requires a dual emphasis approach. And my critique on this article was it gives a whole bunch of it gives 2 charts that show, even though it was discussed in the article, there was still visual and charts of what educators should see to identify twice exceptional students and what to look for, because that's the problem that they're having, is that educators don't know what to look for and what is just a good and what's a disability, which I also found this very beneficial for myself, because I think I'll just keep these charts and be able to look back at them, because I'm sure I will see this and